Good morning, fellow YouTubers. My name's Mike, this is the MDH Automotive channel, and as Steve Harvey likes to say at the beginning of Family Feud, we got a good one for you today. Before I get started and start talking about the Mustang, which of course is the subject of this video, just want to kind of catch you guys up a little bit. I actually had a couple of videos planned for you, but things fell through. First of all, the Corvette, you can see the C6 is still here. I've had so far 3 deals that I thought were pretty solid on this car. Sell it, trade it, what have you, and they've all fallen through. So I'm beginning to think that me and this car are just destined to be together, which is not necessarily a bad thing at all. The car's an amazing car. I actually drove it out to Oakdale the other day, but I actually went out there. I was going to trade for a Millennium Yellow 2003 C5 and some cash, and talked to the guy. Very cool guy. I enjoyed talking with him. We definitely have the car thing in common. But you know, we started talking about things, and he's like, yeah, he goes, I think I want to do this, but let me think about it. And I said, no problem, you know, take the weekend, whatever you need to do, think about it. He's like, no, I'll know by 6 o'clock this evening. So he called me a couple of times in between, and he finally calls me and says, yeah, let's do it, come over tomorrow, I'll give you the money and we'll do the swap and we'll make it happen. I'm like, hey, cool, sounds good, you know, sounds like fun. So a couple hours later he texts me and says, hey, I think I'm gonna have to hold off on it. So I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure why or what have you. I noticed this car is no longer for sale. So, and I mean, it is what it is. It's a little frustrating because I would have rather he just told me from the beginning, hey, I don't want to do this, or thought about it a little bit longer or whatever. So it is what it is. And, you know, for me, I just think I want to just change things up a little bit. I've got my eye on another car. I'll be very honest, even though I do not have the room in the shop for another vehicle, but I've got my eye on another vehicle that I really like to pick up. And I think I just want to change it up a little bit. But like I said, I will always have a Corvette. I want a C5Z. And this Millennium Yellow one was really a beautiful car. I would have enjoyed it. I think it would have been great, low miles and everything like that. But, you know, things have a way of working themselves out. So maybe I'm just destined to keep this car. And if that's the case, so be it. The cool thing that I thought about it was, as I'm talking to him, the guy's got a couple of Trans Ams, and he's got some really cool stuff. I'd like to do some video on some of the stuff he has, but I mentioned that I had a black 79 Trans Am, and he asked me where I got it, and so he says, wait a minute, I got to show you something. So he takes and shows me some pictures of this car being built. Yes, he was the one that actually built this car, and I thought that was kind of cool, that I just, you know, intermittently ran into the guy that built this car. So I told him he could come by anytime, check it out, go for a drive or whatever. I'll take it over, and I plan on hooking up with this guy. Like I say, it seems like a really nice guy. I really want to show you. He's got a 72, I believe it was, Trans Am 455. Awesome car. I really want to do a video on that car. It sounds good. He started it up. Wish I would have taken the video camera, but I didn't. But I do want to do a video on that, so look for that coming soon. Another little tidbit of information to catch you guys up before we get started. The 4140 is actually up and running. I'm very, very excited about that. Eddie got everything back together. I've actually taken it around the block a couple of times. He even got the speedometer working. We got a new gauge cluster in there. So he's got a couple other things just to button up. Then I'm going to take it down. It needs all wiring done because it's old wiring. It needs all that gone through and done. Get the gauges working, get the brake lights working. Then after that I can take it down and polish out the interior. I'm thinking the transmission probably does need to be gone through. It still shifts, but it kind of grinds in some of the gears. It's an old 3-speed, and I'll probably convert it down to the floor. And then that's really going to be that for that car. But I'm excited. It's actually running. I posted a picture of it on Instagram yesterday, so if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, you really should, MDH5169. You can catch up on things there. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. And Brandon actually got a hold of me on the GTO. It's still at his shop. He told me that he was a little short-handed last week, so he apologized for that. He said that Monday he should be back up to full staff, and he's going to jump right on the car. So I would anticipate, since today's Sunday, I would anticipate sometime next week. So today, this is the Mustang. We're going to talk about my 1966 Ford Mustang, but I think we need to start it up and get it out of here and get it outside to where we can take a good walk around and talk a little bit more in detail about it. Okay, so there she is, 1966 Ford Mustang. Take a quick walk around. guess I've had this car, I know it's been under a year, and really haven't done anything to it other than put new tires on it and just driven it. Eddie did some tweaking with the carburetor. It's probably just a little over carbureted. You notice sometimes when you're going down the freeway, it loads up just a little bit, but once you blip the throttle just slightly, it comes right back. Super clean. Paint is really clean. Interior is really clean. Under the hood, as I will show you guys here in a second, is really clean. It is a 302 car, and it's got a 5-speed manual, and it's got disc brakes on the front and drums in the rear. I really like the weld wheels on it. I think they really look good on this car. Truthfully, I was never really a big Mustang fan, just because there's so many out there. I mean, they're nice cars, don't get me wrong, and I like the fastbacks very well, but I was just never a really big Mustang fan. And then, if you guys remember, sometime back I went and test drove one that Bosco and Frank and I were thinking about doing a flip on, and I ended up running out of gas on the freeway with it, had to hoof it back because I didn't have my phone. Just that little bit of a drive in the car, it left an impression. So then I just got on a Mustang kick, and once I get this something in my head of what I want, I really don't let it go until I get it. And so I kept working and looking. So anyway, Eddie and I go over and we take a look at this car. He drives it, he likes it, he ends up driving it home. I don't even drive the car until we actually get it home, and I take it around the block, and then that's about it. I put it away, and I really haven't driven it that much. Like I said, did the new tires on it, had the brakes checked, you know, everything on the suspension was checked out, everything is good. The guy that had it before, he had done a lot of stuff to the car, and it's a good running car. It's a really good cruising car. The speedometer is a little bit off on it. It reads about 10 miles an hour slower than is actually going. So it cruises down the freeway once you get into fifth gear at like 70, 75 with no problems at all, and just doesn't breathe heavy at all. Let's take a look at the interior real quick. So you can see, I mean, door panels are in good shape. The only issue is right here on this side bolster, but all the gauges work. Back seat's in good shape. It does have some rear speakers in the rear deck, but it does not have a stereo, which I do need to add to the car. All the lights, signals, everything like that works. Headliner's in good shape. You know, it's just a clean, nice driving, running little car. There you go under the hood. A very clean little 302 V8. Power brakes, no power steering. It's got the bigger style serpentine belt, and you do kind of hear that. It almost sounds like a gear drive when the vehicle's running. You can kind of hear it when you're driving it, but yeah, it's just very clean, very sanitary, good running. You know, it's no beast, it's no monster or anything like that, but it's just a clean overall car. I also think it's got a good stance. A lot of Mustangs, the front end ends up being a little higher than the back end. I don't really like that, so I like that this thing's got a little bit of a slant to it, a little lower in the front end. I think it's got a good stance. You really can't fit a lot of tire into these cars, but I don't have any problems with the front ones rubbing, even though it looks like it could. I've never heard them rub. I've never heard anything. Of course, like I said, I've never really been into any situations where I guess it could rub. The back's definitely not a problem, and you know, it actually hooks up pretty well and goes pretty well. But like I said, it's not a powerhouse. I don't know what the horsepower rating on this car is. I don't think the guy ever dynoed it, so he wasn't able to tell me. But he built the motor right, and he had receipts for everything that he had done. So it's a cool car, and I do have a friend of mine that has already told me that when I go to get rid of it, he gets first dibs on it. So I've got a few cars like that. But you know, you never know. Sometimes you just never know. I actually thought about getting rid of this one to get the other car that I was talking about, but I just don't think I want to do that. The Corvette's really what I want to do. I want to get rid of the Corvette if I can, and go to a C5, and then put the money in my pocket and you know, go buy this other car if at all possible, if it's still around, that is. So it does mean that I'm going to have to figure out something, because if I get one more vehicle, I think the vehicles I have right now, once they're all home, I can fit them all in the shop. But if I get one more vehicle, that's just not going to happen. I'm going to need to do something for overflow. I can certainly go over to the workshop. That's a possibility. I don't like the fact that I have them, even though it's only a mile away. I like having all my vehicles in one spot. So I'm playing with some different ideas on what I can do to keep them all here and make it work out. But like I said, that's a big maybe. I don't know what's going to happen there. So yeah, okay. I think it's time we take it around the block, go for a little drive and talk about some driving impressions.
Okay, I'm going to speak up a little bit because it's a little louder in here, and I know that the GoPro's audio sucks sometimes, so I'm going to speak up and try to talk a little louder. But we're going to just go down the freeway. Normally I just kind of go around the block, but we'll go around the freeway real quick and just cruise it down that way. Kind of tell you how I feel. Like right now it says we're doing about 40. We're actually doing a little closer to 50, and I'm in 4th gear. This thing has a really high volume water pump, so you can always hear the water circulating through, which at first was kind of weird, but you get used to it after a while. And the car's cold right now, so it's barely got any temperature in it, so I can feel it surging just a little bit. But once you get it down the freeway and warm it up, it'll be fine. The shifter is off, I'm going to guess right around an 85, 86, somewhere in that area, Fox Body Mustang. I remember having an 85 Mustang GT, and it had this exact same shifter. So it fits the car. It's not necessarily maybe what I would choose. I'd maybe just like change the shifter ball out, but it shifts really well. Says 60. We're doing about 70. Very comfortable with traffic. I don't have a tachometer in here, so I can't tell you what I'm tacking. And again, I apologize. I know I'm leaning it forward. I'm trying to keep my voice elevated so you can hear what I'm saying, because to me it's very loud in here. So it's not the quietest car in the world. It's not bad. Weather stripping, everything like that's good. But you know, these cars are made more inexpensively, so they're not the quietest, best riding cars out there. But this one actually does pretty good. It cruises down the freeway just fine. It rides pretty good. A little bouncy, but it rides good. That was about 90, 95. So from about 75. So like I said, it's not a beast, but it cruises. This car is, I mean, it's typical manual cars. Every manual car is different. You can have two identical vehicles, but the clutch throw is always going to be a little different. The way it shifts is going to be a little different. But I noticed with this one, the clutch really catches at the top of the throw, and it just catches all at once. There's no like really easing into it. So I'm always a little bit more of a novice when I drive this car, just to get it to catch just right. Once I get it moving, it's fine. But to me, I feel more like a beginner in this car than I do in any of my other cars. Well, that and actually my Buick. My Buick, because it's so tall geared in 1st gear, and I think it needs some carburation work. I think I need to have a new carburetor put into it. So it tends to almost want to stall if you're not just really like feathering the clutch out and giving it a lot of fuel. But we get here to my little favorite spot to get into it, and I can step into it for a couple of gears. You guys can get a little bit of an idea of what this car does. Brakes loose a little bit in 1st gear. These new tires, it hooks up pretty well. Now, this thing had drag radials on it before, but they were pretty much shot. But these tires actually hook up pretty well. Like I said, this car is not making a ton of horsepower. I'm gonna guess it's probably somewhere in the 300 range. This is the vehicle. Like I said, I really dig the car. It's a good-looking car, but it's one of those I just know one day I'm just going to wake up and say, okay, I'm done and I'm ready to sell it or trade it or what have you. And you know, it's a nice, clean Mustang. Like I said, I do have a buddy that's interested in it if I want to let it go. Of course, everybody always says they're interested in it, but when it comes down to paying the cash for it, maybe not. But yeah, for right now, I'm enjoying it. I like it, and you know, we'll see how long it hangs out.
One thing that's really nice about this car is that it's got a small footprint. It's a little smaller as far as width and length, so it fits in the shop very nicely. That's as compared to the Plymouth sitting next to it, which obviously takes up a lot more real estate. That's kind of an important thing when you have a bunch of cars and like limited space, although it's not limited, but I'm just getting way too many cars. But anyway, like I said, I dig the car. I'm glad I bought it. I've enjoyed it. Haven't driven it a lot. And like I said, it will be one of those that one day I'll just decide, okay, I'm ready to sell it, trade it, and it'll move on, and I'll move on to something else. But yeah, with that, I'm going to end the video. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. As always, comments are very much welcome. I appreciate it. I look forward to it. And I'm really good. I try to respond back to the comments within a few minutes. I mean, once I get the comments, I will respond back to them. So I will respond back to everybody. If I get the notification you've left a comment on a video, I will respond back. And like I said, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the subscribers. I appreciate the views. I appreciate you just being there, and I love to hear your thoughts. With that being said, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I would really appreciate it, and definitely share this channel with any other automotive enthusiasts. I would greatly appreciate that too. And yeah, with that, God bless. Take care. Have an absolutely amazing day.